What up? I'm Ben Freeman from FreemanPedia.com, and it's been 234 years since we last met, all the way back when the Mongols were destroying Baghdad in 1258. Be honest, this is the date on the list you knew without looking, right? But this is not just Columbus sailed the ocean blue. More than any other year over here, 1492 belongs to Spain. Seriously, they were just super busy. So today, let's focus in on Spain's coming out party with our third of the dozen dates, 1492. Alright, it's been a minute since 1258. This is the longest gap in any of the years we do on the dozen dates countdown. So let's put our date, 1492, into context. All that trade route stuff you've been covering in class and that we alluded to with the Mongols in the last video is still going strong. But beyond that, if you were traveling from 1258 to 1492, there's not much that would look too familiar to you. Here in 1492, we are in a transition. Those old sultanates are fading out. The Mamluks are not long for this world, and the Delhi Sultanate is struggling as well. They're going to be replaced by even more powerful empires. I'm talking about the Ottomans in the Middle East and the Mughals in South Asia. China is China, and they've thrown out the Mongols and are dynastically ruling themselves again. Japan is now being ruled by a shogunate, a military leader who rules over feudal states with lords and samurais and all that fun stuff. But Europe is emerging from the Middle Ages or Dark Ages or post-classical period or whatever you want to call it. Let's go to the map. For all those trade routes from Unit 2, the networks of exchange, I'm not seeing a lot of connectivity for the Europeans. So think of the Europeans as being on the outside looking in terms of global trade. Well, at the end of the last period, Spain's neighbors, Portugal, began trying to circumnavigate Africa under the leadership of Prince Henry the Navigator. And by 1488, the Portuguese had sailed around the southern tip of Africa. And now it's Spain's turn. Okay, but why did 1492 make the list and not Diaz rounding Africa in 1488 or even Da Gama transforming maritime trade in the Indian Ocean in 1498? Kind of spoiled this a minute ago, but Spain is taking over, and Portugal's empire is cute. I mean, it's the 22nd largest empire ever, and most of that is Brazil. But Spain's empire, 5th largest of all time. Britain is first, the Mongols are second, Russia is third, and Qing China is fourth. Then Spain, and all of that started for them in 1492. 1492, like all of these dates, is not just a number. You do not have to know any dates for this course. When you see 1492, this should stimulate your mind into thinking of the maritime empires and the rise of Europe seen in Unit 4 of AP World History. And not just Spain either. Think about the upstart British Empire that will be the largest empire of all time in the next period, or the Dutch and their joint stock company in Indonesia. 1492, this is the moment where Europe begins to rise. They will slowly come to dominate the geopolitical world by the end of the next period. So why 1492? It's maritime empire time, and a huge chunk of the planet is about to be introduced to the Europeans. This year is all over the place with Spanish history. I think this might be the busiest year for a single place in terms of the dozen dates. Anyways, after Spain reforms by the marriage of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, Spain immediately has a global impact. This is when Spain takes its current geographic and cultural form. In January, the Spanish King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella complete the Reconquista, or reconquering, by taking Spain back from Islamic control. In March, Ferdinand then signed the Alhambra Decree, which expelled all Jews from Spain unless they converted to Roman Catholicism. In August, Columbus set sail into the Atlantic Ocean. Later in August, the Catholics elected a new pope. Guess where he was from? Spain. See, it's a busy year for Spain. But we're beginning to see Europe emerge into the geopolitical scene in a new way by creating maritime empires. Don't think that these maritime empires are the main power source on the planet yet. They're not. There are more sizable empires that popped up all across Asia. Places like the Ottomans, the Mughals, and of course China. So Spain is a thing, and Columbus has sailed. What's next? Just because Spain sent Columbus out and started building a massive empire does not mean they are set for global domination. The Europeans aren't the only game in town, and the land-based empires of Unit 3, like the Ottomans, Mughals, and Chinese, are playing a massive role in the history of the early modern period, from 1450 to 1750. And there are massive effects for the Spanish arrival in the New World, including the death of like 80% of Native Americans, followed by the forced labor of the encomienda system, and the disaster for humanity that was the transatlantic slave trade. So 1492 represents an expansion of global trade with the addition of the Americas to the networks of exchange and moving European maritime empires empires front and center for AP world history in the early modern period. Don't think 1492 just deals with the Americas. The Spanish silver they extract gets shipped directly to China via the Philippines across the Pacific. This economy is starting to look global for the first time. Wait, you thought you knew everything there was to know about 1492, so you just faded out during this wonderful episode? Don't worry, I'm here for you. Everyone knows about Columbus and the ocean blue, but 1492 represents a coming out party for Europe as major maritime empires come to the forefront of world history. Europe was on the outskirts of the major trade networks and sought new ways to access global trade by sending out explorers and establishing empires. These empires will expand rapidly in this period, but will not dominate due to the existence of massive land-based empires in Africa and Asia. The negative effects of the expansion of the European empires are still felt to this day via the genocide of Native Americans and the horrors of the transatlantic slave trade. Okay, now we're moving. We've seen a couple dates with major global implications for world history. I know what you're thinking. Wait, what the hell happened in 1514? You'll have to wait another 22 years, all the way to the year 1514.